This is the Predator 17, a high-end gaming notebook from Acer. Featuring an i7-6700HQ Skylake processor and an NVIDIA GTX 970M, this has a very impressive spec sheet. But is that enough to justify the high price and high weight? Well, over the last 2 weeks, I found out. So then, the Acer Predator 17. This is definitely more portable desktop computer than full-on portable laptop. That's not to say you can't take it with you, but the question is, do you want to? Because it's a very big, bulky unit that is very heavy and ultimately isn't really going to serve you that well as something to take around with you all the time. But of course, you already knew that. The people that buy these computers are the same sorts of people that want a no compromise experience. They want something that can play all the latest and greatest titles without sacrificing on portability. So if you are someone that needs to take a computer from point A to point B, this is definitely something you're going to want to consider. And looking at the design of the Predator 17 reveals the classic Acer Predator look, which is quite aggressive, and it's a red and black design scheme with the red accents making this thing stand out. And I do think it's a good looking unit. It's definitely quite big and bulky. I mean, some people would definitely mistake this for something that's a couple of years old in terms of design language if you are showing someone that doesn't really know much about laptop computers. But overall, I think it's a nice design, but it is very, very heavy, so please be aware of this if you are going to buy something like this. Look to the inside of the laptop and you'll find that the keys are backlit in a dual tone design, so you've got blue keys on the right and red on the left, and that the gaming keycaps themselves have been given a more gamerish design in the sense that they're red and black rather than black and white. And whether you like this or not, that's going to be down to personal preference. Personally, it doesn't really make too difference to me, and I can see why they've done it, but it's not really something I would say that I am too excited about. As for the overall build quality of the laptop, this is a matte plastic and it does fingerprint very easily, and it just doesn't feel the most premium thing out there. The main positive I can describe it as is sturdy, in the sense that you feel like it's not going to damage very easily, but if you're used to using something like a MacBook, this is definitely a step down. But you do have a lot of features. You've got the Predator buttons on the left hand side, and then you've got a trackpad disable button, which is very easy to hit. So if you are playing a game and you want to disable the trackpad, which is what you probably want to do, they have made it very easy to do this. And overall, it's definitely a gaming geared laptop, and in that sense they definitely got a lot of gaming features that make this thing stand out and quite an attractive proposition. Now, as for the keyboard quality itself, it's actually pretty good, and it's definitely better than I was expecting. It's very easy to type on, and if you do actually have to do some work, some writing, this isn't a bad place to do it. But of course, if you do play a lot of first-person shooters, I would still recommend an external keyboard. As for the screen itself, this is a 17-inch Full HD display, and it's of the IPS variant as well, which means that it has better viewing angles and better color accuracy, and the bezels themselves are actually fairly small, they're fairly well maintained, and for a gaming laptop, they're actually pretty good. As for the ports, on the right hand side of the computer you'll find a Thunderbolt jack, which is fantastic to see, 2 USB 3.0 with a quick charger, HDMI DisplayPort, Ethernet and a Kensington lock, and on the other side you'll find a Blu-ray drive, SD, headphone, microphone, another 2 USB 3.0 and the power jack. In the box you'll also find this additional cooler. This is quite a neat idea, and the whole point is if you're someone that doesn't use an optical drive, then you can literally slot your optical drive out and replace it with this fan. It's very easy to do, and there's a simple lock on the underside of the laptop. But the problem is that it doesn't actually make that much difference in real world use. The fans do eventually come on and spin full speed anyway, it just buys you a little bit extra time before you get there. And so that's the overview of the Predator 17. It's very big, it's very bulky, it's got an out there design that you'll either love or hate. But one problem that I really should mention is the fact that even when you're not gaming, this thing is incredibly loud, even really at idle. But this is a gaming laptop, and those compromises ultimately come down to one thing: a good gaming experience. And that is exactly what this laptop is capable of. It features an Nvidia GTX 970M, and as you'd expect, it can play all the latest and greatest titles with the quality settings ramped up at good frame rates. Running at 1080p, in terms of benchmark figures, we got an average of 61 frames a second on Ultra in Star Wars Battlefront and 76 on High. Move on to something slightly more demanding, so The Witcher 3 got an average of 32 frames a second on Ultra settings and 45 frames a second on High. So both these games you're easily going to be able to play them. The Witcher, yes, you're going to have to crank the settings down a little bit to get the most enjoyable experience, but here we're showing that the GTX 970M is a very capable graphics card. And if you play something a little bit lighter like Rocket League, well, your frame rate is going to go through the roof and you're easily going to be able to smash over 100 frames a second. And so then it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise that the high-end gaming notebook can play high-end PC games. But while it does this, it runs very loud and runs very hot. The CPU, while playing The Witcher 3 for a short while, hit 95 degrees, which is crazy. And especially when you take into account just how loud the fans on this thing are running, it is quite surprising. And of course, if you're wanting to use this as a laptop, then the battery life as well, it's not really that brilliant. You can use the integrated Intel GPU to increase this, but that of course will lower your frame rate. In terms of performance, you're going to get around about an hour of PC gameplay, and of course maybe 2 to 3 times that of normal use. But I think it's time to start wrapping this thing up. In terms of raw performance, I can't really fault this. Its 256GB SSD means that the operating system is slick, and thanks to the GTX 970M and the i7 processor, in-game performance is really nice, and it's all really well presented on that nice IPS display as well. But it's not all good news, because of course the battery life isn't brilliant, and while the trackpad and keyboard are okay, they're nothing really to get too excited about. But ultimately, it's really big, it's really bulky, and it makes a hell of a lot of noise. So you're giving up a lot for portability, so if you are considering something like this, make sure it's that portability that you need. And so it's for those reasons that this wins the Top Performer Award. It's big, it's bulky, it's expensive, but in terms of performance, I don't really have too much of a negative to say. And that's the end of the video. A massive thank you for checking it out as always. If you've liked this, then please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this. A massive thank you to Corsair for sponsoring the channel, and to Acer for providing this review sample. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.